Oh, this is the part of the show where I get very intimidated because it's just bald people all over. You know what I mean? And I figure if I talk to all of you too much, then my hair's going to fall out.
And our next guest is among my bald icons.
Yeah. I mean, not that it's not a handsome look. You guys are both crushing it.
There was Telly Savalas for me.
Okay.
Michael Jordan.
Okay.
And our next guest. And not in that order either.
No, I wouldn't think so. I would think he's the top of the list. He is Matt Barrows all over the 49er beat for, man, how many years has it been now, Matty?
Oh, this is year 20. So this is a pretty special year for me.
Hey,
2 decades.
Yeah, when Oracle Park turned 20, there was a big party. How about for you?
Yeah, no party. Just kind of sitting here losing my hair. I mean, that's all I'm getting right now.
I mean,
you and me both, dog.
Yeah, I think you're doing it real well. Now, have you already written your Odell Beckham story, or what's the order? How does this all go, Matt?
Yeah, I've written 5 Odell Beckham stories. One where he goes to the Rams, one where he goes to the Bills, the Cowboys, for sure. But yeah, that's it. I mean, he's got a lot of options. Good on him for kind of creating a market, him and his agent. But it seems like everybody who is contending is also contending for Odell Beckham, and I think that's what he wants. He wants to go to go on another Super Bowl run. So it'll be interesting to see what he chooses. Obviously, money will be a big factor, but you got the Cowboys now making a really hard push for him. I've heard the same about the Buffalo Bills as well. So this will be fun to see where he chooses.
It's a supply and demand thing, and the supply is only one. It's him, and the demand seems high. But also the fit. Do you think that he actually would fit with the Niners in the fact that they run a lot of 2-receiver sets, and he would be the third receiver, basically?
There would be a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. Yeah. All of a sudden, you've got, across the board, you've got George Kittle at tight end. You've got Christian McCaffrey, a running back who catches a lot of passes. You've got Deebo Samuel, by far and away this team's MVP last year. And you've got Brandon Ayuk, who's having the best season of his career. It really has become Jimmy Garoppolo's go-to guy in these last 2 games. So is there even room for a third guy? I mean, if there were an injury, I think this would be a no-brainer. I think Beckham would be used quite a bit. But, yeah, you have to worry about, too many cooks spoil the broth. You have to worry about everybody being happy. What happens if Deebo Samuel goes 2 weeks and he's just kind of got a bit role in this offense? After everything he gave to this team last year, you've got a Johnny-come-lately coming in and getting a lot of snaps and a lot of looks and this, that, and the other. Those are all things to absolutely consider. Chemistry, locker room, how the offense clicks. I mean, the offense is already going through, I don't want to say a cataclysmic change, but a significant change in the middle of the year by adding McCaffrey. Can you add another guy and expect everything to work in concert? I don't know what the answer is, but I think those are all legitimate questions to ask.
Matt, we might be cart before the horse here in terms of what Odell wants and is there a fit. Are the 49ers actually interested here? Do they want to check this out?
I think that they do want to check it out. I think their MO over the years has been show interest. Something could happen, break your way. And the worst thing that happens is that the other teams, by you showing interest, the other teams have to spend a little bit more money. Or, in the case of a trade, have to spend more draft picks. As long as you're in it, you're either going to get the guy or you're going to force your opponent to give up something significant to get the guy. So I think that's the way, it's sort of the 49ers business model. So when that's your business model, you're usually in on these things until the very end.
Does the fact that they got Christian McCaffrey make this bluff, this gambit, more plausible?
From the Odell Beckham angle, I think it does, because he's obviously a guy who's kind of, looking at cachet and, how much kind of excitement, how much energy a team has. How realistic is it that they go and go on a run through the playoffs and win the Super Bowl? and he bet right last year. So yeah, I do think from that point of view, it does make a big difference. I don't want to accuse Odell Beckham of wanting to join all-star teams, but that's what he did last year, and that's what the 49ers would have that feel. And I think that's also kind of the caution here too, that sometimes it works. Last year with the Rams, sometimes it doesn't. I remember that the 2011 Eagles team that just had one all-star after another on it, and they were terrible. And that group kind of collapsed in on itself. All that individual talent never really added up to anything. And that was the team that the 49ers beat early in the season. That was that Justin Smith, they call it the poke, where he poked the ball out, I think from Jeremy Maclin at the end of the game. And, that sort of was the beginning of the 49ers believing in themselves, and the beginning of the Eagles, that all-star team starting to collapse.
20 years on the 49ers. Matt Barrows here, joining us here. Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game. Matty, I think we've got some state of their health questions, but I also want to throw this at you. And I know your colleague, Tim Kawakami, was writing about this in a Q&A this morning, so I just want to get your thought on this without going too deep into next year, because it's only Week 10. But depending on how this season goes, is the idea of Jimmy Garoppolo on a 49er roster beyond this year, is that a real possibility?
It is, and I think you struck the key words, depending on how the season goes. I think the 49ers are just going to kind of allow the season to dictate the fate of that position. If they fall short or if there's some sort of issue, probably they're going to turn the ball over to Trey Lance again. We'll try that handover one more time next year. But I mean, if everything goes right, if this Christian McCaffrey, Jimmy Garoppolo chemistry, which seems so good against the Rams, and which on paper seems like it really is going to work, their strengths really working in concert together. If they go far, if they win the Super Bowl, absolutely he could come back. I mean, 2022 was the year where everybody, Garoppolo, Shanahan, Lynch, the media, the players, they all thought he was moving on, and he didn't. So that just kind of shows you that anything is possible as far as him coming back. And like I said, if things go well, and this team kind of finds an identity with which Garoppolo is just kind of dealing all those talented mouths I just described, Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, then absolutely he could come back.
You had me picturing a mama bird flying back to the nest with all those baby bird open mouths with so many mouths to feed and only one worm. So they're going to have to divvy it up. And will Deebo Samuel, thank you, spit on. Will Deebo Samuel be one of those baby birds with his mouth open this Sunday, Matt?
He will be, and he's one of the aggressive birds. You know how the birds hatch, and then there's one that sort of is more voracious than the other. That's Deebo Samuel, but he should be back, and it'll be interesting to see. I thought Kyle Shanahan was really creative in that first full game that Christian McCaffrey played, with how he used McCaffrey and Jeff Wilson, two guys who can run the ball, two guys who are good at catching the ball out of the backfield. We saw more of that from Wilson Sunday with the Dolphins. But, Elijah Mitchell doesn't provide as much of that, but Deebo Samuel certainly does. And this will be the first game where Shanahan has both those guys, and how that interplay works. The Chargers are not very good against the run, so I expect a run-heavy game plan, but I expect Deebo Samuel to be folded in there as well. I mean, that's the beauty of having Samuel and McCaffrey. They do two things really, really well, and a guy like Shanahan and a guy like Garoppolo ought to make that work to a T. So that's going to be fun to watch, how they're mixed, how they're used together. If they line up in the backfield together, that would to me, that would cause defenses fits. If both of those guys are back there, what do? Who do they throw to? Who do they give the ball to? So that's sort of the fun thing to look forward to. I know Kyle Shanahan is for these last 9 games.
Matty, solve the mystery of Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw. Where's this going in the second half of the season?
Yeah, I mean, Kinlaw, I talked to him before the bye, and he seemed like he was ready to come back. He seemed at peace with the knee. He was happy with how it recovered. I think the big takeaway was that he realizes now sort of the maintenance that an ACL surgically repaired knee requires. And he's just at the 1-year mark now, or he's getting close to it from that surgery. So it's not quite as doom and gloom as it seemed 4 or 5 weeks ago when it was acting up on him. Now, whether it acts up on him after a 50-snap game or not, I don't know. I think there'll be more of an ease-in period. He's still on IR. He has to miss 1 more game because of that, just the rules, the 4 games that you have to miss. But I would expect him to be at least work back in for that game in Mexico City against the Cardinals, which is the next week. Eric Armstead, I'm not quite sure. He now has revealed that he has a hairline fracture in his ankle, or had one. He's about at the 6-week marks from that injury, which is when bones fully heal. So I would think, my guess is that this is the week that he kind of starts to come back and does some of the conditioning stuff that he may have been missing in recent weeks. Now, whether he did a lot of that during the bye, I'm not sure. But my guess is that it might be 1 more week for him as well. The Monday's practice was just a sort of a bonus practice. Wednesday is the real practice. That's when we're going to get a real good read on which of these guys are legitimate chances to play against the Chargers on Sunday.
Matty, awesome stuff as always. Appreciate it. And again, please, once the Odell thing is about to go down, if you could just give us a little heads up, that'd be great.
Break it here, Matt. You can break it here.
I will. I've got several Odell files going right now. I'm just worried I'm going to get confused and post the wrong one.
Yeah. No, don't do that. Go slow. Text us first. Thank you so much.
All right. Anytime, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, there he goes. That's Matty Barrows, 20 years.
Yeah.
On the San Francisco 49ers.
That's a little humbling.
Man.
And anytime you hear, like, fill in the blank number of years, and it's like, I was doing this before he was somehow.